Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching Sit Down. Thomas John is here with us. The Thomas John Experience on CBS All Access. What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So you've built out this life and career as a psychic medium. A lot of people are familiar with your work. People come to your shows all over the country. What was it like creating this show and kind of connecting with people in a different way?
The show is really about me connecting with people in really showing the way that I work and traveling around the country, which is obviously something that I do a lot. I do different events everywhere. And so the great thing about the show is it was really focused on the readings and the work. And it really kind of, fit along with what I normally do anyways. And so, yeah, it was pretty interesting. And I really enjoyed just being able to put it all together.
I watched your Chicago episode and you're doing the whole ride sharing thing and you're catching people in this moment where they may not even be anticipating this really emotional experience. So what was it like kind of getting people on the run and even just emotionally connecting with people when they're not expecting?
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting. That was kind of the social experiment part of it. And I think that the reason why we wanted to do that, or why that was important, is because I wanted to reach people that normally maybe wouldn't be open to having a reading. And of course, a lot of the times I do an event or I do a workshop, and a lot of those people are already, they're already open to having a reading. They already want to have a reading. And so this was really connecting with people that maybe they're not normally looking for a reading and stuff. So it was kind of reaching like a whole different group of people.
What was the biggest surprise of doing the whole show?
I guess probably one of the bigger surprises was that some people really did not know about mediums. Some people really had never even had an experience with a medium. They didn't even understand, what that was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that that was pretty, that was kind of interesting that people, just some people just have never had that experience. So it was interesting to see them kind of process that or understand that, or, what they thought about that.
Obviously, this is an everyday thing for you, but when people have these really big emotional reactions, are you just used to it at this point? Because it's like people are crying, people are delving into their past. Like, what's it like for you to be able to see somebody tap into that while you're just kind of doing your job?
One of the things with my readings is that I don't. I sort of have a way that I connect spiritually with people where I'm kind of not allowed to actually have an emotional reaction. When I first started to do readings, um, I would always have these, emotional kind of sad reactions. And so basically what I kind of came up to an agreement with my spirit guides was that when I do my readings, that part of my soul and my personality is kind of taken out of the situation. And I do that basically because that way when I'm doing a reading, it doesn't affect it. If I was to get emotional in every reading, it would almost sort of it would affect the reading in a negative way, and it would kind of make the reading less clear. So I really ask for clarity and for that emotional side of me to not really, and I'm really tuning in more at the spiritual level. But of course, I recognize that, a reading, I think, can be very helpful for certain people. And I think that it can really help people maybe have a different perspective or get closure or get answers to things that they normally would not have received. So I definitely think that that part of it is really important. There's kind of a very sacred aspect of things. But yeah, so I definitely know that.
So when did you do your first reading? Like, it must have been a pretty epic spiritual journey for you. Like, why don't we wind things back? When did this all start? And when did you realize you kind of had the ability to do this?
Well, when I was 4 years old, and 5 years old, I started to have visitations from my grandfather. And of course, at that time, I didn't know that that was um, anything that was really that different. I just thought like, oh, that's just. I don't remember being scared by it. I didn't feel it was unusual in any way. As I got older, I realized that, and I started to go to school and make friends. I realized that not everybody, has that part of their mind, their brain kind of turned on. And so I recognized that it was very different. And that was kind of the next step with things. and sharing with my parents and stuff, who really didn't understand it, really didn't get it. And then as I got older, really through when I was younger, I kind of just started to ignore it. It didn't really go away, but I didn't focus on it so much because I kind of got this feedback from my environment and my friends and social situations and my family. I kind of got this environment, this feedback that, well, this is not something to talk about. Don't be
Mhm.
talking about, that. Because every time I brought it up, people would get scared, people would get upset. The teachers would call my parents. As I got older, I started to go on a spiritual journey and kind of study spirituality. And that did open it up again for me in kind of a more comfortable and safe place. And I still, even though I had kind of rediscovered it, I was not intending on giving readings, but I kept getting called back to that. I chose to develop it more, open it up more, and really kind of work with my spiritual gift.
What was the tipping point for you in terms of realizing it's like, not only is this something I can do, but this is something I can really make a career out of, meet people all over the country, and even have my own show with it?
Well, I think once I started to, as I was saying, you get back on my path as I got older, and I started to really, I actually kind of came back to spirituality because I was not really happy in my life, and I wanted to I was looking for answers and kind of just open to that perspective, see if I could kind of get some answers in that way. And so I kind of found spirituality as a lens to do that. And then I started to practice with it, and I realized that, as I was practicing with it and stuff, I would know things about people. I would sense things about people. I would sense their relatives around them and things like that. And so because of that, I was able to connect and tune in and feel things and stuff. And so as I shared that, it kind of became pretty clear to me that I was going to have to sort of make a choice. There were so many people to help, and I had to focus on this. I had to, self care. I had to take classes to um, expand my gifts. I had to spend a lot of time and energy with this. And so it became clear to me, I wouldn't be able to have like another job or something like that if I was going to give readings. I mean, it just wouldn't work, and so in order for me to do the best work that I can do, I would have to focus on this full time. And so that's kind of when I started to kind of focus on it as a career thing. And, when I did that, that really, it just kind of took off from there. As far as a TV show or anything like that, I mean, that's nothing that I ever thought about or ever cared about. I've always been of the mindset that I am wanting to bring out this message to people, and I want to kind of, I want to help people, and I want to bring through this guidance, and I want to help people. And, if that means, having a TV show so millions and millions of people can, see what I'm doing and it can help them. So many people have reached out about the show already and said, they didn't know this was possible. It's brought up questions that they have, things like that. So I think if I'm able to do that, then that's great. But if I, if it's not, but it's never been about that for me. It's
Mhm.
just kind of been more like, hey, I want to get this message out to as many people as possible.
Yeah, you clearly want to help people. I mean, I can hear that in what you're saying. I certainly saw that with the show. What do you think is the biggest misconception about your life as a psychic medium, or just the readings in general? Like, what do people not understand enough about what you do on a daily basis?
There's probably a lot of misconceptions. I mean, I think that, certain people maybe think that psychics know all the answers at all the time. I think there's certain people that um, feel that psychics, they know what's going to happen all the time. They know what's going to happen in their life. They're always reading people. That's kind of not how my gift works, and that's not how a lot of people's gifts actually works. It's not like this kind of, it's not like a machine. There's an aspect of which I have to tune into it. I think there's probably a misconception out there that, you know, it's not real, or psychics are making it all up, or they're liars, or they're people, so I mean, I think that obviously that's not true. I've actually been scientifically tested in twice by somebody who researches psychics and mediums, and he has for many years. And he's a PhD level psychologist, and so he's actually tested me. He tests mediums and psychics, and explores this phenomenon. And so, I mean, I think that there's just, I would say those are two things. Maybe that it's scary. I've even had people to the point of, they think it's scary, or it's in some way wrong.
So what are you most excited about in terms of people checking out the show and learning about the whole deal here?
Well, I'm really excited that it's on CBS All Access, because, it's great that people have access to it all the time. I've even had so many people who have written to me or tweeted me or messaged me on Instagram and said, that they discovered the show and they watched it, they binged it, and then they wanted to share it with friends. And it's great that or they want to show their mom, or they want to show their family members or something. And it's great because it's all right there and accessible. So I'm pretty excited about that. And, again, just excited to see all the different types of messages. I mean, there's so many unique writing, rides, experiences. There's a ride where I connect with a woman who lost her son, who was very young. He was only like a couple days old. She never thought it would be possible for her to speak to her son, and he comes through. There's another ride where there's another, not a ride, but an experience where I connect with a gentleman who was actually shot by somebody, and
Wow.
the person who shot him has since died, and comes through in the reading. So, I think that there are some pretty powerful readings, and I'm excited for people to, learn about that.
It's a fascinating show to watch. It's the Thomas John Experience at CBS All Access. He's Thomas John. Thomas, thanks so much for joining us, and best luck with everything, all right?
Thanks for having me.